Title: The Black Hole of Calcutta, a Colonial Tragedy. 1. Pre-colonial Bengal scene. The bustling streets of early 18th century Bengal, a thriving center of trade and culture. Explanation: Prior to British colonization, Bengal was one of the wealthiest regions in the world. It was known for its rich history, art, and culture, as well as being a major center for trade, dealing in textiles, saltpeter, and silk. The local rulers maintained a delicate balance of power with foreign traders who were eager to exploit the region's riches. 2. The arrival of the British East India Company scene. Tall ships arriving at Calcutta's harbor, flying the flag of the British Empire. Explanation: The British East India Company established its control over Bengal in the late 1600s, founding the city of Calcutta as a trading post. The company was an immensely powerful enterprise backed by the British government, with its own army and the ability to mint money. The company's presence marked the beginning of British colonial rule in India. 3. Tensions rise scene. A bustling market in Calcutta with a mix of Indian locals and British traders in a heated argument. Explanation: Growing British influence in Calcutta began to strain the local society. The imposition of new taxes, land reforms, and trade restrictions disrupted traditional ways of life. Tensions grew as the British traders increasingly encroached on local governance, sparking resentment among the indigenous population. 4. Governor Siraj Uddaula scene. Siraj Uddaula, the young Nawab of Bengal, addressing his court with confidence. Explanation: Siraj Uddaula emerged as the leader of Bengal at a time when the British were expanding their influence. Known for his youthful vigor and ambition, Siraj saw the British as a threat to his authority. Tensions quickly mounted as he sought to defend his sovereign rights against foreign domination. 5. The Siege of Calcutta scene. Siraj Uddaula's army attacking Fort William in Calcutta. Explanation: In 1756, feeling threatened by British military fortifications, Siraj Uddaula attacked and captured Fort William, a key British stronghold. The poorly defended fort quickly fell to the Nawab's forces, marking a dramatic escalation in conflict between the local rulers and the British East India Company. 6. The capture of the British scene. British soldiers and civilians being rounded up by Siraj Uddaula's army. Explanation: Following the capture of Fort William, Siraj Uddaula's forces took a number of British soldiers and civilians prisoner. The conqueror's victory was decisive and swift, and many of the British community were forced to surrender. 7. The prisoners taken to the Black Hole scene. Captured British soldiers and civilians being herded into a small, dark room. Explanation: The captured British, numbering about 64, were imprisoned overnight in a small guardroom of Fort William, known as the Black Hole of Calcutta. The room was dark, cramped, and lacked proper ventilation, spelling disaster for those locked inside. 8. The nightmare begins scene. The anguish of the prisoners inside the Black Hole as they struggle to breathe and survive. Explanation: The space where the prisoners were held was meant for no more than 3 or 4 people. As the night wore on, the combination of overcrowding, heat, and lack of fresh air led to extreme conditions, pushing the confined to madness and despair. 9. Desperate attempts at survival scene. Prisoners pleading for water or relief, some collapsing from the intense heat. Explanation: Inside the cramped confines of the Black Hole, the prisoners tried desperately to get some relief, suffering from thirst and breathing difficulties. The requests of those inside were largely ignored, and the situation continued to worsen overnight. 10. Death toll mounts scene. The first light of dawn revealing the grim reality of the previous night's suffering. Explanation: By morning, many of the prisoners succumbed to suffocation, heat stroke, or exhaustion. Out of the 64 initially imprisoned, only 23 survived the ordeal. The exact details and numbers have been contested, but what occurred that night has gone down in history as a colonial tragedy. 11. Survivors' accounts seen. British survivors recounting the horrific events to their fellow countrymen. Explanation. Stories from the survivors spread quickly, fueling outrage among the British. Their accounts painted a grim picture of what had occurred, leading to calls for retribution and further conflict. 12. Political fallout seen. British officials in London reacting to the news of the Black Hole incident. Explanation. The Black Hole tragedy had significant political implications both in India and in Britain. British authorities in India intensified their military efforts, eventually leading to a concerted campaign to retake control of Bengal and punish Siraj-ud-Daulah. 13. Reinforcements arrive. Seen. British ships arriving in numbers to regain control of Bengal. Explanation. Mourning their losses and bent on revenge, the British government dispatched troops to India to restore British standing and influence in Bengal. This escalation would lead to further colonial entrenchment in India.